Welcome, sexy souls, to the Vortex experience. It is your host, Claudia Compton. I'm excited to talk to you about today. You ready? Fucking drum roll, bitches. Let's go. How you can get from a wet sock to weapon. Pretty much how to unfuck your life in a nutshell with the clunkiness and why you aren't feeling as happy or fulfilled with the fastness of what is happening in your reality. So I do want to preface this. This is just from my personal experience, and I'll serve you some facts so then you can get from the wet sock energy that you're currently feeling to the weaponized woman or man or whomever you are in this experience right now to where you want to go. All right. So I want to speak into a few different things because I believe that there's divine timing. Let's be fucking real. And I also believe that we can accelerate that. Okay. Controversial moment there, but I do believe you can't fuck up what is for you, which is what I tell my clients all the time. And I tell myself, all right, it. You cannot fuck up what's for you. And though we can also do things that can like speed up the process as long as we're willing to learn, evolve, and grow. So before we get into it, oh my God, I'm going to forget. I channeled in. So for those that are new to the segment, since I've relaunched the Vortex experience, my guide said to me, "You're going to make this show special." I said, "Oh, thank you. Of course I am. It's Claudia, bro." And they said, no, because you're going to channel us. And I was like, what? So pretty much in a nutshell, I'm going to be doing a collective channel message. I might use cards. I might use my brain, whatever. I'll be using whatever the fuck my spirit guides tell me. And that is that. Okay. Told you it was a little bit rogue, a little bit weird, and a little bit how you going. So absolutely, let's have a fun time. So the thing that my spirit guides wanted to convey to you today was that life is a highway. I want to ride it all night long. You know, don't sign me up for fucking Australian Idol. That is that for sure. But I do tell you that life is a highway, okay? It gives me Lightning McQueen. It gives me Cars, Pixar movie, okay? The reason why I wanted to share that is because life is a highway. End of podcast. No, I'm just joking. I'm just fucking with you. But the thing that I really wanted to speak into, and that's what my spirit guides were telling me, is like, as long as you have the long mind, like the end game in mind, the way that you can actually enjoy the highway, enjoy the journey, is to focus on that. So regardless if it does speed up or doesn't speed up, I want you to look at as how you can actually increase your experience and increase the love that you're experiencing and increase the fun, the play, and what else is coming through because they're trying to knock on my door. Yeah, they're just saying me like, if you're wanting to, I know this sounds really weird. I can see someone specifically actually sitting at a stop sign or a stoplight and they're stopping and turning the music down. If you're that bitch, stop being that bitch. We are giving main character energy, bitch. We are giving main character, okay? We want to go into the Vortex experience. Who would your main character self be? If this movie was all about you, which actually is, newsflash, would you actually lower or dilute your energy? Would you dilute your essence? Would you dilute your expression? Would you dilute the amazingness that you are, my queen, my sexy soul? Okay, so we got to remember, turn that bitch up, crank it full speed. It's like subwoofer at a fucking stop sign, okay? We want to make sure that we are oozing with the fullness that we are. Please stop turning the volume down. Stop it. Stop it right now, okay? Because that is just hindering your experience, because then you're constantly thinking about what other people are perceiving you with. So that is a little bit of a channeled message. I feel like a bit of a weird one. Thanks, Dot. Thank you, guys. I'm going to trust that it's land the way I'm going to land the plane. All right. So if you are feeling like impatient or whatever, don't worry. This podcast is for you. It's going to help you feel less clunky and it's going to give you a lot of clarity. But if you are wanting to sing more in the car, fucking do it. This is your sign. Actually go full bust out, bust a move. Everything is about you in this reality. Everything is just a hologram. It's all a vortex. It's all an experience, all reflections. So why not go live, laugh, love and live full poussoir out. Okay. So that is the channeled message. I am going to trust that this is landing because obviously this is the first official podcast episode of the Vortex experience with the new segment of the channeled messages at the beginning. So it's going to land. I landed the plane and we're going to move on to the podcast episode. All right. So I want you to feel less clunky in your life. The reason why, because girl, I have felt clunky as fuck. I felt thick and like I'm just trying to fit a square in a fucking circle. Let's be real. I'm trying to fit a square in a circle when it feels clunky. And what we want to speak into is a few different things. We want to speak into standards. We want to speak into self-doubt and self-confidence. And we also want to speak into comparison, okay? Because when we look at that in a nutshell, if we are contributing to comparison, to self-doubt, to lack of standards, to lack of confidence, of course we're going to feel clunky. Of course we're going to feel off kilter. Of course we're going to feel out of alignment, #spiritual. You know, like that is what we're actually, that's going to be fucking a fact. Because if you're checking left and right constantly, do you think you're going to be feeling fun? Do you think you're going to be feeling great? Probs not, bitch. Okay, let's be real. So when I recognized that I was actually comparing myself to everyone, and let's be real, let's strip it back for a moment. I believe it's actually human nature to be in a comparative experience because we're from a tribal, like, let's be real, we're still fucking animals. We're smart animals. We're emotional beings. We're emotional animals, okay? So we had to compare to be a part of a tribe. But we don't need it psychologically, energetically, yes, like still connected to a tribe. But I want you to look at, we have so many tools and resources nowadays that if you are overly comparing yourself to your peers, to your family, to your exes, to like whatever, how much of a detriment is it actually to you? Because I believe that healthy comparison, good comparison actually is supportive of you. Like if you're at a great supportive network and you're comparing yourself to them, I actually think it's a good thing. It gets to a level though where we got to stop comparing and actually take a moment to tune into what is real and alive for us in this moment and be like, am I comparing myself to make myself feel shit about myself? Is this contributing to the clunkiness? Is this contributing to the lack of results? Is this making me feel shit about myself in a nutshell? Okay. And that's not to say being comparing yourself to a friend that makes you feel shit about yourself. It's just highlighting insecurities. But we want to look at it a layer deeper. Okay. Because I believe that, like I said, life is polarity, right? There's no good nor bad. It's just perspective. So when we are comparing ourselves and then feeling shit or choosing to feel shit about ourselves with the reflection that we got, I believe that's how we feel super clunky. I believe that's where we start to get a little bit shiny object syndrome. We want to look at other things that are potentially not going to support our growth or our well-being. I believe that's how we can feel like our path is going slow and it's not actually then able to quick up the process, because I believe when we are feeling shit about ourselves, it actually puts us in a different vibration, puts us into self-doubt, fear, scarcity, lack, all of these kind of things, which actually becomes a blindfold to opportunity. And we are fucking that off. We are fucking that off, okay? Like, you're deserving of so much amazing stuff in this life, so much amazing experiences, and you're worthy of fucking creating whatever you want. And though, if you're contributing to the comparison trap, then we need to have a little bit of a talk. And you may be saying, Claudia, how the fuck do I stop doing that? Just stop. No, I'm going to talk way more about comparison because I really believe that there's a psychological standpoint to it. But in a nutshell, just catch the thoughts. Catch the thoughts of you going, oh, but why is she like this? And why can't I be like that? Brother, she's literally giving you the opportunity to look at your shit in the best way possible. Like, I remember when I felt super insecure to hang out with successful people, and I thought, bro, what do you mean? They're hanging out with me. I hang out with them. Why am I pedestaling these people? Because it doesn't make me feel good. If I'm pedestaling someone else, I'm pitting myself. So that is, I believe, usually what happens in the comparison is like people pit themselves and pedestal other people, and then they compare their results. But you know, it's like the fucking cliche quote, don't compare your page 2 to someone else's chapter 3. Like, come on, babes, let's evolve from here. All right. So the other thing that I want to speak into just briefly, standards. I believe that the clunkiness is because you like stop, start. Who has been personally victimized by the mindset of I'll start on Monday? Yeah. Oh, hello. Feeling exposed. Yeah, I was that bitch, okay? No shame, no guilt, no shade. If you're there still, that's great and fine. That's serving your journey for now. And from here on in this moment, you get to choose differently, bitch. All right, let's go. So, because it's giving wet sock at the end of the day. If you're waiting till Monday, it's giving wet. It's giving wet sucky. It's giving wet sucky, okay? And what we want to do is we actually want to look at the lack of standards, because I have a conversation with my client the other week and she was like, oh, I just feel like I'm not progressing fast enough and I feel like life is very stop-start. I'm like, yeah, but how are you contributing to the stop-start, and why is life feeling clunky? Is it because you're choosing it, brother? And she's like, facts. And I was like, yeah, here you go. So with the standards and things like that, it can be standards of, do you eat your breakfast in silence with no phone? Do you drink your water? Do you go out on a walk? Do you say no to things when it's actually a no? Or do you people please and say yes? Like, there's so many different standards that we could get into. I believe that there's standards in like all areas of life. So there's standards of like your mental, emotional, physical, financial, energetic, like your spiritual. And there's so many standards that we can abide by. And I believe that when you connect in with your higher self and you actually learn about the specific standards that that person has, and then you have it now, you'll collapse time, space, and you'll become that bitch way sooner than you can say wazoo. Am I right? So I would really recommend on getting clear of what your standards are, because I believe that people don't uphold the standards is because they don't know what the standards are or why the standards are, like why they're doing it. Like, if you want to get something out of this podcast, look at where your future self or your higher self is, and then look at the standards that she has. Like, what does she eat? How does she show up? Like, all of that stuff that you're probably hearing on social media, but actually fucking do it. Like, actually sit down, take 10 minutes of fucking, once a week to actually look at, reflect on who you showed up as, who were you being, what were you doing, and what results did you have? And then map that across to the results that you want. Like, what does she be? What does she do? What does she have? Really great book to listen to or read is Ask and It's Given. It's a great one. It's fucking incredible by Abraham Hicks. Absolutely recommend. It's my go-to. So fucking delicious. And the reason why I want to speak into this is because, like I said, when I have conversations with clients, they don't actually know what they're actually going for. Like, yeah, maybe they're going for a higher cash month in the business, or maybe they're wanting to leave the 9 to 5, or maybe they're wanting to grow on social media, or maybe they're wanting to have healthy relationships, but they aren't specific enough. And I feel like when people aren't specific enough, it's actually full giving wet sock, like absolute wet sock. And they're then able to use that wet sock to wet themselves and fuck themselves over. And I believe that can actually stop right now, because there's so many podcasts out there, and there's so many fucking YouTube videos about how you can actually change your life. And yet, like, why are we still having the same conversation is because you're choosing to be wet in a sock way, not in a good way, right? Like, you're choosing to have that shitty behavior. You're choosing to have that standard. And now that you're listening to this, we can shift that out, bitch. And how we do that is by getting clear. Literally, just by getting clear on what you want. But so like fucking crystal clear that you can see your full reflection in it. Like a mirror kind of shit. We don't want toothpaste smothered on that. We want fucking crystal clear vision. Because when you're crystal clear, you're able to see everything. It's like trying to shoot a fucking target with a blindfold on. Try and get a bullseye with a blindfold, doll. It doesn't happen. We want to get super clear on what we actually want, because when we're able to see what we're going for, you're more likely to get a fucking bullseye. But if you've got a blindfold on, go. You could be shooting up and you don't even know where you're going, but you're going, oh, I don't know where I'm going. Well, no shit. Your fucking blindfold's on. Take it off and then shoot it. So I believe that standards are super important. As you can tell, I fucking harped on just then for like 20 minutes about this shit. So lack of clarity is contributing to the clunkiness that you're feeling in your life, which is contributing to the slowness in your life, which is what we want to fuck off in this episode, okay? So create bigger standards for yourself. Just honestly, if you can't do it for yourself right now, do it for someone else. Like, that is how I started my fucking journey. That is how I started my business. I was like, fuck, I need to help other people. I'm going to do this. So my fear of judgment, my fear of failure, my fear of being laughed at, my fear of it not working, that was insanely, like, catastrophically outweighed when I recognized that the people that I was doing lines with on the weekend fucking needed help like I did. And that outweighed me being scared of being seen on social media or Tom, Dick and Harry from school, like, laughing at me and DM me shit. Like, it just didn't weigh up anymore. So when you get to that point of like, fuck this, I'm doing it, you will see everything shift in your reality. Like, you will feel the fastness. You will have that higher self download and timeline shift and insert fucking spiritual words right now, right? So when we look at that, the clarity is a piece. Like, why are you doing it? what standards are you doing? Like, who's it important for? And I had a call with my 6-month girlies the other day, and I literally said to them, like, if you can't show up for yourself right now, show up for other people. Like, that is just plain simple truth. If you can't show up for yourself, show up for someone else, because that is the biggest moving driver that will actually help you make that change, because humans are programmed out of pleasure or pain. Pain hurts way more than pleasure, and therefore we're programmed more towards pain than we are pleasure. So if you cannot pleasurably lead yourself through the pleasure of helping other people. That is what I have to say for that. And number 2/3, right? My belly just rumbled. Wow. It's like, wow, feed me, bitch. I'm hungry. Wow. Self-doubt and lack of confidence. I believe that is connected to the clunkiness in life. And I feel like people just sit back and they go, oh, you know, she's so confident. I could never be like that. What the heck? How do you know? First of all, how do you even know she's confident? Just because she walks into the room looking good, having nice hair, and she smells good and shit, you don't actually know if she's fully confident unless you have a conversation with her. So I would say stop making fucking assumptions, for starters. Stop making assumptions. Read a good book. It's called The 4 Agreements. Fuck it, that is a good book. That is a great book. I would also recommend that book. So good. But you don't actually know if this person is confident, because everyone has their own definition of confidence. Like, and that is one thing I would say is, like, get clear as fuck for what your confidence means to you. What does it mean for you to be the most liberated, empowered version of you? What does it mean for you to be the most happy, abundant, and confident? Like, just get clear on it. This is the fucking problemo, bro. This is the problemo, babes. You're not clear enough. And you don't know if people are feeling confident. You just think they are, right? So how do you know that people don't think you're confident? Plot twist, we're turning the mics off, I'm dropping it, and I'm deucing out. I'm just kidding, I've got heaps more to talk about. Of course, you can't stop me yapping. That's why I started a podcast, bitches. Let's go. I had OxyShred really late today, guys, and I'm going to have to wind down hardcore because there is caffeine pumping through my veins. I haven't had caffeine in like a month. So live, laugh, love. Anywho, back to the lack of confidence. So with this lack of confidence piece, you actually get to decide like what your version of confidence is, how you show up in yourself like that, and actually start to embody it. People talk about this on social media. Oh, you got to embody your confidence, embody. What the fuck does that mean? And I'm going to tell you what it means. It literally means become the list that you wrote out. You embody the words. It is energetic frequency. You just become that. It's easy as fuck. And then doing it consistently, you'll then fully become that confident version of you. And I believe that's what also contributes to the lack of results, or the clunkiness in life, is because the lack of standards, it's being wet sock, there's comparison there, and there's a lack of confidence because you don't believe that you could ever be confident, because that actually bumps up your identity that you currently have. Like, who would you actually be if you be confident? I had this conversation with one of the containers that I run, and it's like, who would you be if you actually were confident? Who would you be if you're actually that successful content creator? Because that identity, that undercurrent energy is going to run your whole fucking life. The unconscious mind, you probably already know. If you don't, there's heaps of podcast episodes that are on my show around the unconscious mind. And the thing that I can say about that is that if you don't see yourself as a confident person, you're not going to be that. So we've got to turn up the Delulu notch dial. We got to crank that bitch all the way up. Life is a highway. Go down that fucking highway and just ram it up. Like, I want to hear that subwoofer shit. So, which brings me into speaking into self-doubt. Self-doubt, I believe, is just a lack of action and a lack of commitment and self-trust to oneself. And let me explain that. When you feel self-doubt, it's because it's currently bumping up an edge of your identity. You're doubting yourself, which means that you're doubting your abilities. It's because you don't doubt. You are currently not feeling like you can trust yourself to, follow through on that investment, or show up and talk to that nice person that you said you were going to do, or go over and ask for a raise, or leave that job. It's because it's bumping up with your current identity. So if you lack confidence and your self-esteem or your self-doubt is like through the rocker, like it's literally... my visuals today are crazy. I literally just seen diarrhea. Anyways, if you are shitting through the eye of the needle right now with your self-doubt, I don't know why I said that, but that's just what is happening in my brain. If you are like oozing out with lack of self-doubt, whatever, we really, really get to look at like, cool, why are you doing that? Like, actually sit yourself down. Why? And I don't want to hear the stories of like, oh, but because it was like XYZ happened in my childhood. Yeah, that absolutely contributes to it for sure. But like, why are you still choosing it? Like, we got to get to the deeper root cause of the shit. It's honestly, the work gets to be fun. It gets to be super, it gets pretty invasive, let's be real. It gets pretty deep pretty quick, but like, it gets to be fun, and we get to have fun, and we get to enjoy ourselves, and we get to play, and we get to see this as a privilege and an honor that we get to evolve ourselves to help other people. So with the self-doubt and the lack of confidence piece, I believe it's like a fucking muscle. You can't go to the gym and expect to squat, 100 kilos on your first day unless you've had previous experience, right? You've got to fucking work up the muscles, because you're going to tear some ligaments, you're going to fuck up your knees, you might pop out your back, your pussy in your crack, you know what I mean? So you just got to keep going down the things. You got to rep that bitch out. You got to rep it out. The self-confidence and the lack of self-doubt, the lack of confidence and the self-doubt is contributing to you not feeling good enough. And then it's creating the comparison. It's making you look left, right, and center. Left, right, and not in the center, and not railroading yourself and getting to where you want to go. And I can tell you, like, when I started working on my relationship with self-doubt, my relationship to my confidence and my self-doubt literally diminished, and my confidence and my self-trust went through the fucking roof. So we got to look at our comparison, like, how can we actually look at it in a good way, and something to liberate ourselves and love ourselves a part of the journey. How can we create better standards, stop being a wet sock and create yourself to be a weapon, and have more fun and joy and create that life that you actually want without the self-doubt and without the lack of confidence. And just coming to mind right now, if you feel lack of confidence and self-doubt, I actually think it's a good thing. The reason why is because if you're doing something where you're constantly confident and you're not ever doubting your abilities or your skills, it means that you're potentially not growing, and that is giving wet sock, okay? So we want to make sure that we are constantly like evolving and bumping that edge and shifting that identity out, because then we get to experience the life that we want. So that is all for today. I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Share with a friend, put it on your stories, tag at Claudia Compton. All the stuff is in the show notes below. You're going to have a fucking amazing day. Enjoy, have the best fucking time. And that is all for the Vortex. And I'll speak to you next time. Bye.